back to Knits by Lizzie. I am a vegan knitter coming to you from a very stormy day here in New Hampshire, and today I have a knitting podcast episode for you where I'm going to update you on all of my knitting projects, and I am very excited to catch up with you guys today. I have several finished cardigans to tell you all about, and an update on my Bookclub Cardigan WIP that I have now finished the body on, and then I also have a new cast on to show you, as well as lots of new yarn to share with you, both some warm weather themed and some not. See if I can, I'll briefly hold up my little pile here of yarn that, this is all the yarn that this is all the yarn that I'm going to share with you guys today. I'm really excited to discuss some upcoming plans for this yarn, and that is going to be at the end of the video today. I believe last episode I had a little bit of sewing, but I haven't been doing any sewing, even though it's Me Made May, which does seem to be a very sewing focused sort of trend that people do in May, where they post a picture every day of wearing something that they made themselves. I do see people show knitwear as well, but it seems to be even extra in the sewing community. But despite that, actually I haven't been doing any sewing, even though I've got lots of fabric to work with once I finally get around to sewing. But today is only going to be knitting, so I invite you to grab your own knitting project and hang out with us as we chat about some knitting. So first, we will talk about some finished objects. My first finished object is my Sookie cardigan by Woozy by Celine. So here she is. I was almost done with her in the last episode. I think I just had the last sleeve to do and then the buttons. So now she is all finished, and I actually got some Pigeon Wishes buttons for this project, and I have seen Pigeon Wishes come up on other podcasts, which is how I found out about them. It's a shop that I think they do have a website as well, but I bought these buttons off of Etsy. It's a, I believe, UK-based shop that sells fabric and buttons, but they're really unique buttons that they make. Let's see if I can get it to focus. So you can see that it's kind of like a cool marled design. I'll show you another one. So it's a cool marled design here. But yeah, these are really, really, really beautiful. I feel sort of unique buttons that I've been wanting to use for a while. And so when I was maybe a quarter of the way into this Sookie cardigan, I decided that, I think I want to try some Pigeon Wish buttons for this. And so I ordered the 13 millimeter, I believe it was, shirting button size, which is what was recommended in the pattern. I think that my buttonholes are it's slightly bigger than what they are supposed to be in the pattern, because the buttons do fit. It does close, but they're it just barely closes. So if I kind of do any sort of jerky big movement, it can come unbuttoned, which isn't a huge deal, but I might go back in and just tighten up my buttonholes a little bit so that they fit these buttons. It must be my row gauge must have been just a little bit off of what the designer's row gauge was or something like that, so that my buttonholes aren't quite right. So a little bit about this pattern. So this is an all over just stockinette drop shoulder construction oversized cardigan. It's pretty basic. One of the design features of this cardigan is the double knit button band, which I really enjoy making, and I love how double knit button bands work. And another part of this design is that it has this double folded stockinette collar instead of a double knitted collar, or or instead of a ribbed collar that you double fold over. And I went into depth on this on my last podcast, so I won't go too far into this, but I personally did not enjoy making the stockinette double folded collar, and so if I was ever to make this project again, I'm definitely going to make a double knitted collar instead of a stockinette collar folded over. There's two reasons for that. One, I just really love the look of double knitting. I think it's really clean and really has a nice structure to it, I think. And I personally don't mind the process of double knitting that much. And then the second reason is that I had some issues when I was folding it over and getting it to, I still got it to match, it wasn't twisted or anything, but I think my buttonhole on the collar, there we go. I think my buttonhole on the collar is just kind of messy compared to my buttonholes in the double knit button band. I have now like gone through, and when I sewed in all of my ends, I was sure to sew in my ends like all around the buttonhole so that the buttonhole wouldn't have like a bunch of other openings to it, because obviously this was just like a straight knitted stockinette piece of fabric that then you sewed down. And so I just don't think that was very clean. Like here, let me show you in contrast. Here's a buttonhole that I made in double knitting, which I think looks really, really clean. And oh yeah, you can see that it's a little bit bigger. So that was like a really the main reason why I didn't really like double folded, the double folded stockinette collar. Even though I actually think this is like, that's kind of one of the main like design features of this cardigan that's like more unique compared to other cardigans. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if I do make another one of these because it has a really large gauge and it goes really quickly. I believe I knitted on 5mm needles. So, it fits really, really well. It is really well written and all of those great things. I do recommend this pattern, but I just don't really like the stockinette collar, and so I'm gonna do double knitting this time I do this. Other things about my object here is that I knit this in Hobby Fluffy Day, which is an acrylic yarn from Hobby, and it's designed to kind of look like you knit something with a mohair. It's definitely not a mohair dupe because it's like a worsted weight yarn, and generally mohair is lace weight. So it's definitely not a substitute for mohair, but it kind of makes it seem like you included a lace weight strand of mohair in terms of that it gives it like a fluffiness to it. That's why it's called Fluffy Day. So that was pretty fun. It was pretty fun to work with this fluffy yarn. And it is easy to work with. Didn't have any issues with that. And you get a lot of yardage per skein. Like it comes in big 100 gram skeins. So I had 3 skeins of this, 3 skeins of Hobby Fluffy Day that I broke into for this garment. I knit size 2, I believe, and I didn't use all of the 3rd skein. And so I think if you're knitting size 1, I guess it depends. You might be able to get away with only 2 skeins of Fluffy Day if you were knitting size 1. Or was I knitting size 1? I was either knitting size 1 or 2. I'll put on the screen the correct number, and also I have linked in the description of this video my Ravelry page, and so if you want lots of details about my finished objects, you can always click on my Ravelry page and look through my finished objects. So yeah, I had a lot of fun knitting this. It knit really, really quickly. I finished this like maybe only like 2 days after the last podcast. So I've actually been wearing this a lot. It has started to pill. So as expected from like a pretty soft, fluffy yarn, it's pretty pilly. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, it's just kind of pilly in general. I don't know if the camera is gonna pick it up here. Yeah, I don't know if it is, but it is peeling a bit. I do need to give it a wash now that I've worn it. I've worn it a few times, then my sister just visited and she was wearing it as well. And so I do think it needs a little freshening up, but I'm definitely in a cardigan moment right now. I have been wearing this so much, and then this is my next finished object that I'm going to talk about, which once I finished, it was kind of like, okay, so I finished the Sookie cardigan, and then it was one of those things where I was like wearing my finished object every single day, and then once I finished this cardigan, I kind of switched and started wearing this cardigan every single day. So we are in cardigan mode for sure, and I'm loving it. I might just keep riding the cardigan train, you know. So yeah, that is my Sookie cardigan by Woozy by Celine, knit out of Hobby Fluffy Day and some Pigeon Wishes buttons. My next finished object is the Siri Cardigan by Lena Holmes Samso. I am so mispronouncing that. I'm so sorry. She goes by LeKnit. That's her business name is LeKnit. She is the designer for the porcelain sweater, which is I think probably her most popular design, and she is kind of steadily starting to become one of my favorite designers. This is only the second garment that I've made from her. I made the porcelain sweater as well, but I have other designs from her on my queue, and I have some yarn for some other designs for her, and I just, yeah, I'm kind of feeling, I'm in a bit of I think I'm about to enter a bit of a LeKnit phase where I'm gonna knit a lot of her stuff because they're just, I don't know, they're just speaking to me. I really think that her designs are really, really cute. I really enjoy them. So in my last episode, I showed you guys that I had Cascade Yarn Sarasota, which is a cotton and acrylic blend in a yellow color, and I was debating either making the Storm yarn sweater by Petite Knit, or the rib stitch sweater, and I don't recall the designer's name, but I'm gonna put it on the screen here for you. And I wanted to, at the time I was thinking of making something that had, to take advantage of like the good stitch definition that would come from a cotton and acrylic blend yarn, which was kind of inspired by the fact that I had made the Staff and Sweater by Rebecca Clow, which is a sweater that has a bunch of like knit and purl textures that would be really good for something with stitch definition, but my yarn choice did not have good stitch definition, and so I was kind of wanting to look into what types of yarn would be good for stitch definition. So that's what I was thinking like around a month ago. And then I wanted to order some yarn for the Terracotta Sweater by LeKnit, and I needed 1 skein of mohair to knit that sweater, and so I didn't want to just order 1 skein of mohair for shipping, and then also it just seemed kind of like a waste of shipping basically. So I thought about what other yarn I could order, and so I decided to order a yellow mohair that would match the yellow yarn I had for Sarasota, just in case I either changed my mind about which pattern I wanted to knit, or if I had enough Sarasota left over to make another sweater, or just kind of wanted to have yellow mohair around basically. And then the yarn arrived, and the color match was just so good, which is always a gamble on like looking at clothes online whether they're gonna match. And then also I really only have like there's only like one company that I found so far that makes a vegan mohair, which is Lamb Yarn Soft Sensations, and so they have like a decent color range, but it's not like Knitting for Olives color range or something. And so so I can be, sometimes when I use mohair, I can be a little bit limited in the color. So it doesn't always match perfectly. But when this arrived, the color match was so perfect that I just knew I had to knit with it immediately. And I had been thinking about, I'd been thinking about making the Siri sweater for a while. Like I guess like at some point, like Instagram fed me like maybe an older picture from LeKnit's Instagram of when she first came out with the Siri sweater, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute, and I like spent a lot of time looking at it. And so then I think like the algorithm just knew that I liked that image, and so it showed me it several more times, and every time I would see it, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that sweater is so cute. And then I went and looked like at the Ravelry page, and it's kind of meant to be knit on a worsted, and then the Sarasota yarn is a DK, and then plus a lace weight would be about a worsted. And so I ended up making a little swatch for one of the cables on this Siri sweater, and was just like, okay, I have to do it. And then what happened is I started knitting, and I just couldn't stop. I just fell in love with it, and I think I'm calling it now, this is, at least so far, this is my favorite thing that I've knitted this year so far. And so we'll see what happens when I do my Everything I Knit in 2025 video, how this ends up ranking at the end of the year. But this feels kind of similar to when I made my Esther jacket by Petite Knit, and I was just like, oh, I just had this. Sometimes, you get that feeling about a finished object where you're like, oh yeah, this is a good one. Oh my gosh, there's like a huge turkey outside my window right now. Let's see, maybe I can get oh no, I don't want to reveal where I live to you, but there's a huge turkey outside my window. Let's see, what was I saying? Yeah, so it was one of those feelings where I just knew that this was going to be a finished object that I loved, and it's right. I finished it maybe like a week and a half ago or something, and have worn it every single day, and it only took me 2 weeks to knit because I could not knit on anything else. So let me take this off real quick, and I will give a little bit more details. So this is a cardigan again by LeKnit that is basically all over moss stitch. Like the back is completely moss stitch everywhere. With the yellow, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to see what happens. Maybe if I go, yeah, maybe you can see that a little bit better. So there's like a little design on the raglan, and then it's moss stitch all over through the back, but it's got these really huge cables. Sorry, I'm looking in the viewfinder here to make sure you guys can see. I think you can kind of see. So there are these huge cables that line the button band. So there's like one big type of braid cable, and then one big type where the cables like go in towards each other. And this gauge on this sweater is I think 16 stitches, and so So these are like really nice chunky cables, and I've actually, so she has a Siri like pullover, like a Siri sweater companion to this, and I actually don't like the Siri sweater as much as I like the Siri cardigan. Like there's something about those huge, chunky, nice cables that are lining a button band that just feels so like, I don't know, so symmetrical, so cute, which has really drawn me towards it. And so it only has those two cables, that's all it has on the body, and then it's got one of the cables on the sleeve here that just goes all the way down the sleeve. So you start, it's a raglan construction, so you start by knitting like the cardigan, you start by knitting the cables for the fronts, both fronts, and then also the cables for the sleeves, and then of course once you split for the body, then you're only knitting the cables for the body. So it was sort of an addictive knit in that way, where it really wasn't that hard, but you could see the little bit of cables come to life. And I think I'm discovering that my favorite type of process knit is the type of knitting where it's not just stockinette necessarily, but it's not something that is crazy complicated where you need to be looking for every single row. Like for example, I made the Poet Tee by Sari Nordlund last year, which was really fun, and the outcome was gorgeous. And I did enjoy knitting that, but that's an example of something where you have to be able to look at the pattern every single row. But this one, once you know how many times each cable repeats, then you're fine. These two cables they're not doing your crossover on the same row every time, so you do have to like keep a little bit of attention, but not that much. So yeah, absolutely fell in love with this, was super obsessed, finished it in 2 weeks, it took me 14 days to knit, and I took a little bit of some footage about the different like steps of knitting it, so I think I'm gonna make like a little reel about the making of this sweater, it was just really fun, and I kind of already want to make another one because of how like fun that process was. I am debating making a pale pink version for my mom, and I think I might surprise her with it, just like order some yarn, make it, and then send it to her. It is very convenient because we did some measurements, and my mom and I have the like exact same measurements on our torso. She's several inches taller than me, but I guess she has got like much longer legs than I do, but we actually have the same dimensions on our torso. And so if I'm making her something like a sweater, I know I can just like use my own body as a measurement gauge. And then her personal style, she likes things a lot more fitted than I do, so I would probably size down and might go down like, I might play with gauge a little bit in order to make a sweater that's like more tight fitting, because that's like, she likes to feel like hugged by her sweaters. So, but yeah, I enjoyed making this so much that I think I'm gonna make another one. And it's the kind of garment where like everyone needs to make one of these. Yeah, that's my opinion. They're super quick to knit, super amazing finished object, where I think it's so wearable and beautiful, and yeah. I can't say too many good things about this. I just had in my stash some very cheap like coconut style buttons that I just threw on there. It's got a ribbed button band and ribbed collar. Ribbed button bands go so much faster than double knit button bands, but definitely I think the ribbed button band like goes with the aesthetic of this cardigan. I'm sure double knit would look good too, but yeah, I went with the suggested button band in the design, and yeah, I knit size 2, and I love the fit. I'm sort of wearing this in, what's the word? Like, I'm kind of like delusional when I've been wearing this, because it is, even though I said it's storming, it's like thunderstorming, kind of like the way that it does in summer, you know? And it's been like 70, almost to like 80 degrees here, and I still have been like trying to wear this cardigan because I love it so much. I'm just kind of like, it's summer? Like, no, it's not. Just wearing it anyways. And I actually do, like, when I get to my plan section, I kind of want to make another sweater from LeKnit. I want to make the terracotta sweater, which is definitely not seasonal at all, but I might just do it anyways because, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. I can knit whatever I want to. I just might not be able to wear it. So yeah, I'm kind of in, I can't think of the right word, not in protest, but yeah, I've just been wearing the sweater even when it's been way too hot to wear it, just because I love it so much. So if you want the little details on this finished object, like how much yarn I used, I will put that in my Ravelry like description for this finished object on the project page. So again, that's linked in the description box below. You just have to click like more on YouTube, and then there'll be a bunch of information. And I think I've got a direct link that you can just click in my description that will take you to my Ravelry page, and you can look at some details if you're interested in making this sweater as well. I used, again, Cascade Yarn Sarasota, a cotton and acrylic blend, and then I held it with a Lamy Yarn Soft Sensations, which is a vegan mohair. And actually, I'm gonna go grab a skein of each so I can show you guys how good the color match is. Okay, look at this. Let's see, can you tell? Yeah, look at this. Look how good this color match is. It is like they weren't, you know, not made from the same company. Yeah, craziness. Like when this came in the mail and I was like, oh, let's check it out. Like, how close is this color match? I could not believe it. And also, it doesn't, like, I knew that it was yellow based off of the picture in like online for the mohair, but it was kind of like, it almost looked like white and yellow like marled together, but in person, and maybe that's what it looks like on this camera, but like in person it's a very like solid just yellow color, butter yellow color, and you can tell in the garment that they're a good color match. You can't really pick out where the mohair is compared to the like main yarn. So maybe let's see, hold this up again for you guys. Yeah, so maybe you can see just like how this is just like one fabric basically. And that's like a fabric that's not marled. So, yeah, I received that mohair in the in the mail, and I was just like, okay, I have to do this. Especially I made a swatch and I was so excited. And I think, you know, knitting, I do it for fun and for relaxation. And so, even though I'd like not initially planned to make this pattern with this yarn, I think when inspiration strikes, it's really, I think it's good to like hop on that when the inspiration does strike, because I was like enjoyed thoroughly like every step of the way of this project, and I recommend this to everyone. So I'm gonna put it back on even though it's kind of warm, just because I want to wear it all the time. So that's it for finished objects, and now I will tell you guys about my 2 works in progress. So my main WIP now, especially that this, my obsession with the Siri cardigan is over, I'm back to focusing on my Bookclub cardigan by Sari Nordlund as my main WIP. So this cardigan pattern by Sari Nordlund is an all-over cabled cardigan pattern that is one of her most popular designs, even for Sari Nordlund, who like all of her designs are pretty popular, but this is definitely up there with one of her most popular designs that came out like maybe a year ago, and I had been dying to knit it for so long, and I had just, you know, a few months ago when I cast this on, I'd done quite a bit of gift knitting and was like really wanting to like satisfy something that I wanted to do, and so that's when I cast this one on, and so I have really been enjoying this. It is a it's definitely a bit more of a complicated knit. Still not like super complicated, but it's definitely requires a little bit more attention than say like the Siri cardigan, even though they both have cables. So the main feature, there we go. The main feature of this cardigan, I think, is these diamond structure cables, which this is the first project I've ever had with these diamond structures, and they're really intuitive to knit. You just have to like pay attention of what stage you're at. But I just really love how they look. And then they're bordered by these kind of fishbone looking cables, and actually this style of cable, there's a really big version of this style of cable on the Siri cardigan too. And I think you can see, let me show you the back. There it is. There's the back. So at this point, I have just bound off the body of this cardigan. So right now that I'm showing it to you, I don't have any needles. I don't have any needles on this cardigan because I need to pick up stitches for the button band, and I'm going to do a double knit button band, which is what is suggested in the pattern. And so I believe the double knit button band is one of those where I'm not going to do like 2 different button bands and then a color. I think it's the button band goes like all the way around. So it's gonna be a lot of stitches that I need to pick up, and it probably is gonna take a bit of time, but that's fine. Like I said, I don't really mind making double knit button bands, and I think it's gonna look really classy on this cardigan. The yarn I'm using for this is that I'm holding together a strand of mohair. Surprise, surprise. Go. So I'm holding together a strand of Lamy Yarn Soft Sensation mohair in brown, and then I have this lighter brown that is Hobby Kind Feather that I'm holding together, and obviously these are not the same shade, they are creating a marl, but I think the marl is pretty, I talked about this in my last podcast, that I really actually like how this fabric, is turning out. I'm gonna like zoom in so we can all really appreciate. Yeah, I really like how the fabric's turning out. The marling actually, honestly, it's like adding a really cool like dimension to the fabric. So kind of like happy accident over there. So this cardigan is knit at an 18 stitch gauge, which when I did my gauge swatch, I achieved gauge, but I haven't measured it again in the garment, but I kind of want to, because I have felt that this garment has taken me longer to knit than I would have expected from something with an 18 stitch gauge. Like 18 stitches is like on the larger end of the gauge spectrum. Like that's larger than a DK weight gauge, which makes sense because I'm holding Kind Feather, Hobby Kind Feather is a DK weight acrylic, and Lamy Yarn Soft Sensations is a lace weight mohair, acrylic mohair. And so together those should be about a worsted, and 18 stitches is about a worsted weight gauge, I would say. Yeah, I don't know, it's just been taking a while, and the fabric feels kind of thick. It is on 4mm needles. So yeah, I'm kind of curious if I'm actually at a tighter gauge than I think I am, just because it feels like it's taking forever. But that's okay. I don't mind that it's taking forever, because like I said, I'm sort of fighting the fact that I'm still wearing knits even when it's a little bit too warm. So I'm probably not gonna be able to wear this right when I finish it. And it's one of those projects that's just like so pretty that it's just nice just to, I don't know, just kind of like slowly see it come to life. But yeah, I'm very excited that I'm at this big milestone of finishing the body, and so now I just have to do the sleeves. It's a drop shoulder construction, and so I just have to pick up, like I've got the stitches here around the armholes that I'll just pick up for the sleeves after I do the collar. So I just have the collar and each sleeve to do. So that's still probably gonna be like a bit of knitting, because that double knit button band is gonna take a while, but I do think I'm like at least halfway through by finishing the bulk of the body. So I think it's gonna go a little bit quicker, because there are some cables on the sleeves, but it's not the same amount of cabling as the body, and I don't know, sometimes I can get into a rhythm of double knitting, and it can kind of fly by. So I'll definitely put in some tried on footage for you guys to see. I tried to go for a similar length to this Siri cardigan, because I do like how the Siri cardigan fits, and so when I was finishing up the body and like deciding when to bind off the body, I was actually traveling by bus, and so I was trying like on the bus, which I was of course wearing my Siri cardigan, because like I said, I've been wearing it all the time, and so I was wearing my Siri cardigan while I was finishing up this body on the bus, and I was trying to I would take off my Siri cardigan and lay it on my lap, and then try to lay my this WIP with it on the needles against my Siri cardigan. Obviously I wasn't at home with a bunch of I couldn't spread out or really stand up, and so it was kind of hard to, I was kind of haphazardly putting these two things next together to try to gauge their length, but when I got home after I had bound off the Bookclub cardigan, I was like, okay, this length is fine. So it all worked out in the end, but it was just, I don't know, I was just thinking of if another passenger looked over to see what I was doing, it would be kind of funny. If it's one of those things where unless you're a knitter, you're like, what is that girl doing? She's just playing around with all of these two sweaters. I don't know. I was kind of cracking myself up while I was doing that, but yeah, so pretty big progress on this Bookclub cardigan, and at the rate that I have been doing my podcast lately, where they've been kind of further apart, my guess is that this Bookclub cardigan will be a finished object in the next episode, which I'm super excited about, because I believe I cast this on mid-March or something, so it's been about 2 months at this point, and it'll probably be, yeah, maybe 2 to 3 more weeks, my guess, before this guy's done. So it'll be definitely a longer term project, but one of those that's so worth it, and this will be so good for fall. This is definitely fall colors, and yeah, I feel the lighting is catching it pretty, the design pretty well. That's so fun. I'm definitely having a cable moment, definitely cardigan moment, cable cardigan moment. I need to come up with a third alliteration for what's going on right now, cabled cardigan not catastrophe because it's actually going very well, but anyways, so that's my big whip going on right now. Gonna do the button band next, and as always, if you want some more like day-to-day style updates on my knitting, I have an Instagram account as well that I post on more often than my YouTube channel, so you are always free to follow me over there. For this book club cardigan, I also am making a size 2. So my final whip that I have to share with you all, that is really more of just like it's just a brand new cast on really, is I am making, these are the very humble beginnings of a Tolsta Tee by Rebecca Clow. This is the collar, which it seems like actually honestly like a little smaller than I was expecting for the collar, but we'll, you know, I'll have faith. I'm like 3 rows in. So this is a DK weight, or like DK gauge, almost worsted weight gauge actually, t-shirt pattern by Rebecca Clow. And for her, when she designed this, she was just kind of tired of having like all the summer garments be fingering weight and taking a really long time to knit. And so she basically designed a t-shirt that would be like her favorite summer t-shirt to not only to knit but also to wear. And so it's a 17 stitch gauge and recommended with a DK weight yarn. And so it's kind of like an more open gauge to be yeah, kind of like airy for summer so that it doesn't get too hot. And I am knitting mine in Drops Belle, which is continuing my yellow theme I got going on here. And Drops Belle is exactly the same in terms of composition as Santa's Garden LeKnit. So it is a cotton, linen, and bamboo or like viscose blend of different, so blend of 3 different fibers, so a bunch of different plant fibers. And I have used Santa's Garden LeKnit before. Last summer I made a striped t-shirt out of it, and so now I'm trying Drops Belle, and so I can compare them because Drops Belle is much cheaper than the Santa's Garden version. So we'll see how they go. I did make a tiny little gauge swatch before I cast on, so I'll show you guys that. So maybe you can see how, yeah, so you can kind of see, like, I don't know if you can you see my finger behind there? So it's a pretty open, it's an open weave or whatever fabric. Yeah, there we go. So part of me is like a little, like, is this almost too open? Like, are you going to be able to, like, when I'm wearing this t-shirt, would you be able to like see what's underneath, like see my undergarments? I don't know, but we'll see. It might not be too bad. Because it's not like it's going to be, it's a little bit, it's not negative ease, like some summer garments have negative ease. It still has like a little bit of positive ease. The fact that it's not going to be like stretched over my body. So it's not going to be, the fabric itself is not going to be stretched like this. It's going to probably stay like loose how it is right here. And I think this is probably enough coverage. So we'll see what happens in the end. I'm knitting this collar here on 4mm needles. So I believe I'm gonna knit the body on 5mm needles. I think that's what I did this. I should have labeled it. I think I knit this swatch with 5mm needles. So so I think the body's made of 5mm needles, 17 stitch gauge. This t-shirt's gonna fly by. I basically cast this on because I finished the Siri cardigan, and so all I had was that book club cardigan, which, like I said, is like kind of complicated. So I kind of wanted I needed a complicated and a less complicated project so that I could have something that I watch or knit while I like watch TV or something, and then another thing that I knit when I need to like pay a little bit more attention. So this is my stockinette project, and I feel like this is gonna go really, really quick. And then I will be through my yellow yarn. I bought a bunch of yellow yarn at the same time, and then the butter yellow cowl was announced maybe like a week after my yarn arrived, and I was like, oh, this is good timing. So I haven't done it yet, but when I post about my Siri cardigan, I'll enter that into the cowl, and then I'll probably enter this into the cowl too just for funsies. Yeah, I definitely was unintentionally influenced by the yellow theme, like trend, because I bought this yellow yarn without really knowing that it was like a thing going on, and then the cowl was announced, and it was just kind of funny. I was like, oh, I guess I am, maybe it was like been subconsciously influenced by like seeing yellow other places and then deciding that I wanted to knit with yellow too. So just kind of funny. I also have on here, I don't think I've shown many of my stitch markers. I have these cat ones that I got off of Etsy a while ago, and I've got there's a bunch of them, but 2 of them, I have 2 cats, and so this kind of looks like one of my cats. So I really like using the stitch markers that I have that look like my cats, because then I just like every time I go past a row, I'm like, oh look, there's my kitty, and then go past another row, oh look, there's my kitty, which is very fun. So this will, the humble beginnings of what will become a Tolsta Tee is the other WIP that I just cast on. So those are all of my WIPs right now, and I do have, like I said, some yarn acquisitions that I want to get into, so we can now get into that. Okay, maybe it is actually just a bit too warm. So since we last spoke, I did celebrate a birthday, and I received one yarny gift from my good friend Delaney Black Dog Knits, who knits as well. And so I think we both have a lot of fun, I think, getting gifts for each other, since we whenever there's like Christmas or birthdays, we get each other knitting based gifts, which is very, very fun. And so she picked this up for me. This is Bamboo Pop from Universal Yarns, which I had been meaning to, I haven't tried this yet, but it's definitely been on my radar as something to try and something that I've heard of before. So this is a 50% cotton, 50% bamboo yarn, which because of it's kind of like, it's not quite silky because it's 50 cotton, 50 bamboo, but it definitely has, I think, like a sort of softness to it that's coming from the bamboo that you wouldn't normally get from just cotton. And it's this very, very cool sort of marled yarn where it's like dark purple and light purple together. Maybe you can kind of see. So my plan for this yarn right now, I think, is to make a solid color Sailor Swift top, which is a tank top by Veronica Lindbergh of Katova Kika, and I've made one of her Sailor Swift tops before. It was super quick and fits so well and has such a good knitting process. It's so not fiddly, which a lot of tank top patterns I think are very, very fiddly. So I have two skeins of this, which will be, I think, the perfect amount to make a Sailor Swift tank top. So I'm going to be doing that this summer. And then some other yarn that I ordered, which is on theme for summer, is some Sandsgarn LeKnit. So look at this beautiful, beautiful purple. So this, again, it's the same fiber content as Drops Bell. And so this is 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. And I mainly purchased this because of the color. I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I love how there are so many patterns on Ravelry that specifically list LeKnit as a suggested yarn, which makes it so easy to like choose what to knit with. And so I think I'm gonna make a t-shirt pattern by LeKnit out of this. I believe it's the Vera. I want to say it's the Vera tee. Again, I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. The Vera tee, and she actually knit her sample out of this same exact color. So I'm going to be very unoriginal and completely copy her and make a burgundy wine-colored maroony tee with the same yarn, using her pattern. It's the same as the sample. I really think it's really cute, and we're knitting this LeKnit, which is like a DK weight, almost like worsted sort of gauge. I do think it's gonna be another situation where it's like a t-shirt pattern that's gonna go pretty quickly. Last summer I knit a t-shirt, the Moonset Tee by Ozetta, which is a fingering weight t-shirt. Love the product. Took forever though. I think knitting some summer t-shirts with some DK weight or like worsted weight yarn, or at those gauges at least, will be a better like knitting experience for me. So I'm excited to try that out, and I love this color. That'll be fun. So my next yarn acquisition is several different types of yarn, but it's all for the same project. So probably pretty soon here, I want to make the Terracotta Sweater also by LeKnit. I've been thinking about, it's another one that I've been thinking about for a while, and I've been debating, like going back and forth about whether it's too similar to the porcelain sweater that I made by her, I think it's different enough. Like I'm going to be using different colors, and then also the Terracotta Sweater has some texture banding, which the porcelain sweater does not. And then also I thought to myself, if I'm going to enjoy knitting it and I'm going to enjoy wearing it, who cares if if it's close to the porcelain sweater? I will enjoy it, and that's the point. So I spent a lot of time trying to find vegan versions of the same colors that she has in her sample, because I want the terracotta color, the like kind of pinkish orangish color, and I want to do a fingering weight held with a lace weight together. So as I said, I have basically like one main option that I found that is vegan mohair, which is Lamy Yarn Soft Sensations. And so I first went to try to find which fingering I was going to hold with. And I've used Cascade Yarn's Cherub Sock as a fingering weight before, but I couldn't find a good like pinky orange in that type of yarn that would go with it. And then I looked at Knit Picks has a fingering weight cotton yarn, and I also couldn't find the right colorway for that. But what I did find is a close enough color from Hobby in their baby cotton, which is 100% cotton. And so this is going to be my my color that I'm holding. And I actually only have one. I got one skein of this because it's just a little bit of color work on the sweater. And then my main yarn is going to be the same, or my main color is going to be the same yarn held in the same yarn in their natural base. So this is, let's see if we got color numbers on here. This white is, here we go. This like natural color is number 2, and this apricot, I think this is the name of the color. This apricot color is color number 22. So number 2 and number 22. And then I'm gonna hold this, the main color, with Lamy Yarn Soft Sensations. So that's what I'm doing for everything. But I'm using the color that is beige, a beige one, and I have used this color before for my holly sweater, and it's a really nice sort of like oatmeal-y color. And so I think this is going to be a good, which is like kind of the I don't want like a pure white as my main color. I want like a oatmeal-y color. So this is obviously going to create some sort of marling, but I think it's going to be marling that I like. So I had a little bit of marling, same kind of similar situation in my holly sweater, and I really liked the outcome for that color. So so these are going to be held together. And then I have a bit of a decision to make, and so maybe I can get your guys' opinion. I don't have any swatches, which would have been most helpful. I haven't made a swatch yet, but so I'm going to hold a mohair with this color, and I'm going to put on the screen right here the color that I'm trying to match. So this is the Sandusgarn colorway that she used in her sample that I'm trying to match. And this is going to be the base, and I'm going to hold it with one strand of mohair. And because I only needed one skein of mohair, I decided to get 3 different colors to see what would be the best match. And so I'll show you all of them. So these are the 3 different colors that I got to test out. So if I hold this with this, I think this is the one that I'm probably not going to go with. So this is like the brown color, light brown color from Lamy Yarn Soft Sensations. So I think if I want to pull this orangey more brown, I would hold it with this. And then if I want to pull this orangey more pink, I can hold it with this. This is the rose color from Lamy Yarn Soft Sensations. And then if I want to really like lean into the orange, I've got like an actual orange color, which is kind of like an orange, it's an orange wrapped around like a brown core. So it does have some like dark parts of it. Yeah, I think right now I'm probably leaning towards the orange, but I don't know. I might go to, I guess, yeah, I really do just need to make some swatches, but let me know your opinion. I do think that the brown probably is not the way to go, now that I've received it and looking at it, but do you think that I should hold this apricot fingering weight with this rose pink lace weight or this orange lace weight? I really think that I just need to make, some swatches, and then that will answer my question. But yeah, I'm trying my best to color match that Sandusgarn. I think the name of the color is Terracotta, which maybe is why she named this design the Terracotta Sweater. I'm not sure. So yeah, those are all my yarn acquisitions as of right now. And I may be casting on my Terracotta Sweater before my next podcast, so you can kind of stay tuned for that. I also wanted to thank everyone who gave me some feedback on what type of other videos they would like to see on this channel. Definitely the most requested thing is some sort of yarn review, and so I definitely have that in the works right now. I only had time for a podcast episode this weekend, but when I do find time to film a video that takes a little bit more time, I'm definitely going to be doing a yarn review of every yarn that I've ever knit with. And so hopefully that will help any of you out there who are trying to not knit with wool and want to know what other yarns to knit with. I can share with you what I've learned over the 2 years that I've been knitting, since it was like, you know, of course, it was a bit of a journey to find what yarns I liked, and and which vegan yarns were like higher quality than others. So yeah, I would love to kind of like make the video that I wish I had when I first started knitting as a vegan knitter. So that video will be coming, and yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone for providing their feedback on that. So I think with that brings us to the end. Please let me know what you are working on while watching this video, and you can yeah, tell me what patterns you're working on. Are you going more into summer knitting by now? Because it seems like most people are. Or do some of you still knit sweaters in the summer? Because I think that this summer might be, unlike last summer, I only knit used plant-based yarns, only knit like t-shirts and tanks and stuff. But I'm kind of thinking that this summer I'm gonna do like a little bit of that, but also keep some sweaters going just like for fun. And then when it gets cold here, which like most of the months here are more cold than they are warm, by the time it's cold I'll have like all these sweaters to wear, which will be very fun. Pretty soon here my closet is gonna be like overflowing with sweaters. I don't know what to do with all of I have so many sweaters now that I've been knitting so much. Maybe I need to start knitting more for other people, or yeah, I definitely have. There's definitely some sweaters that I have that I wear more than others. So I've been thinking about what to do with the sweaters that I've made, like especially towards the beginning of my knitting journey, like what to do with them, but we'll see. So with that, I am going to say goodbye to all of you, and sending lots of big hugs, and I will see you next time. Bye.